Was there anything about Houston that you liked?
Well, I didn't get to see much of it. I was tied down at home with no transportation and way off out in the sticks in this little house.
And no friends. And
I didn't know anybody there. I was in Houston.
And you hated the summers there.
Oh,
Very humid, very hot. And
very hot. We had to dip our sheets in water to, and by the time we'd get in bed, they'd be dry. Hot.
But Dad was pretty successful in the gas station business, wasn't he?
Yes, he
Seemed to like it.
He liked being his own boss. And he had a very nice station there through, I guess, Shell, wasn't it? Shell oil?
Shell.
That he had got that. And he had a man to help him there that he thought the world of, a colored man who did the tires for people, you know, changing tires and help with the upkeep.
I seem to remember that Dad was a little bit of a tease. He loved to play jokes on people. Is that right? Or
On you children, I guess. Yeah.
Can you remember any of those
No.
instances? Or
No, he never played teasing with me very much.
no?
No.
What did you like to do together most
Well,
of all?
let's see. We had a croquet set, and we
Set
liked
that
to-
up in the backyard and play croquet.
And then we always liked to go to a good show or a good play.
Daddy liked plays?
Yes, he did very much. I didn't. I tried to get in touch with my sorority friends there, but I didn't have much luck because I was too busy with the children. I did, for a while, was quite friendly with one of them who was a sorority sister. But we moved around so much that I just didn't keep in touch with her even after we moved away.
I see. Was Dad having trouble with his health even then in Houston?
No?
Not that you were aware of.
No.
It wasn't until we came to California.
Right.
And now let's see, what prompted that? Bob had graduated from Rice in Houston, and he wanted to come to California. Is that right?
Right.
And then he liked it so much that
He kept writing back that
we should all come out to California.
Yes.
And so Dad was persuaded that might be a good thing to do. That was in 1942, wasn't it? It was just after World War II had started. What do you... No, it was in must have been earlier than that, but 1941. But anyway, it was right about then, wasn't it? The beginning of the war.
Those things are a little blurry, dear, in my mind.
Well, you remember that after Dad got ill and died, you went to work in the shipyards. And that was, pretty hard work.
Broadway Terrace. And that's where we had moved there when he entered the hospital with the kidney stones. We hadn't been there very long, when he died.
No, I know. We hadn't been in California a year even. It was just a few months, wasn't it? Seemed to to happen rather suddenly?
Well, it happened because he got, it wasn't from the kidney stones, it was from
The operation.
and the blood poisoning that set in.
I see. Infection.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you
I'll never
went.
forget that.
You had to go to work almost immediately, didn't you? Because there wasn't much in the way of savings, insurance.
And my brother James sent us $50 a month for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. He was a good brother.
I should say he was.
And then you went to work in the shipyards, in the office, right?
Yeah.
Doing office work.
I helped with the payroll.
You couldn't go back to teaching because your certificate wasn't good in California. Is that right? Do you remember? Or you didn't have the...
I didn't know how to get in touch, I guess.
I didn't know how to do it.
No. This neighbor next door was the one that got me interested in going to the down to the shipyard.
I see. And then you also went to work at the library. And
Later.
that came later. Do you remember rationing in World War II?
Of course, yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, we had books.
Books of stamps?
The books of stamps, And you had to pay so much for certain things. Sugar and flour were very precious. So we didn't make many cookies. And
what about butter?
well, no, we had plenty of butter.
But that was rationed too, wasn't it?
I
It seems to
don't
me we ate more margarine than anything
Oh.
else, and those were the early days when the margarine was not colored.
Oh, that's right.
And you
It's
had to
like lard.
put coloring in it.
Yeah,
It
I
never
did.
did taste good, did it, in those days?
No, I always worked
awful.
that little bean. There was a little orange-colored bean that made had to work it into the butter.
And then they finally passed a law that made it possible to get it already colored.
Yeah.
And then it began to taste a little bit better, which was strange, wasn't it? This time, Ed had gone into the Navy, hadn't he?
Yeah.
And Bob was working for Shell,
Shell.
which was a defense industry at that time.
Mhm.
Marian and I were still in school. Do you have any special memories about those days? That quite difficult, weren't they, for you?
Well, yes, getting up so early in the morning and took so long to get down to the shipyard. And then I had to be there especially early because I was one that had been chosen to hand out the paychecks to the workers. And I had to be so very careful not handing out the wrong one to the men that were standing in line. That was the hard thing. I just trembled every time for fear I'd get a wrong one.
Did you ever meet another man that you thought might be a good husband?
Well, not, no, not really.
I don't remember that you went out on dates.
Mm-mm.
Just didn't
No, not after I was married.
meet anybody that
Mm.
interested you. Then Bob was the first one to be married, wasn't he?
Yes.
And the birth of your first grandchild must have been a very exciting time.
Indeed it was.
Beverly and then later Robin.
They were two really sweet youngsters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all my grandchildren are.
And then not too long ago, you had your first great-grandchild,
Yes, little Benji.
Benji, followed very shortly by your second great-grandchild,
Kelly.
Kelly. And it's been a pretty good life, hasn't it?
Very good, yes indeed, considering. It's been kind of lonesome at times, but the children have all been very wonderful to me, really.
And you have a lot of happy memories.
Yes, I do.